Best Podcast Ever is sponsored by the Gertzberg Law Firm, a full-service business law firm in Cleveland and Chagrin Falls that's changing the way businesses retain their attorneys. Go to gertzberglaw.com to learn more. While you're there, check out Cover My Six, a complete legal audit of the 6 areas that most often create or prevent business lawsuits and government investigations. Go to covermysix.com to learn how we keep you safe. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to listen to the best podcast ever recorded.
So think of any of you who are entrepreneurs out there. What would your business look like if if you took 5 months off, right? And you come back, right? After 5 months.
Jason Smith, how are you, my friend?
Doing good. How we doing, Alex?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Anything for a fellow Browns fan.
Well, yeah, I mean, we do have to look out for each other, you know.
That's right.
It's like, you know, it's like battle buddies and, you know, coming out of Vietnam, you know, you see traumatizing things on a regular basis, and you gotta have your battle buddies back. Jason, you wear a lot of hats. I was on your LinkedIn before starting this, just to refamiliarize myself with the many hats that you wear. And they're all in the financial services industry. You're dealing with financial clients who are investors and who are also wealth managers themselves. Yeah.
Yep.
And
I am adding to the repertoire because I'm told you I'm building this farm now in Oberlin. So about 67 acres, and we're building a farm out here to raise the kids on.
I don't think I knew about that. I knew that there was property out there. I don't think that I knew about the farm. That's all right. Well, let's put a pin in that. I definitely want to talk about that. And in fact, I'm making a note because I will forget. Farmer. Yeah, financial wizard, insurance master, farmer. Right? Wasn't there insurance in there somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go. So today, the hats you wear today you are the president and CEO and founder of Clarity to Prosperity, which is this platform that you've created that has training and coaching and IP development for financial advisors. Then you've got another company, C2P Advisory Group, this fiduciary-friendly insurance marketing organization. You're the chairman of Prosperity Capital Advisors, which is a registered investment advisor. And then you've got the J.L. Smith Group, which is kind of like this parent sort of global organization, right? I'm sure I'm not articulating that well, but financial services, insurance, wealth management, that's your pre-farmer forte.
You got it.
Walk us through.
I just made myself a note to have somebody clean up my LinkedIn profile too, because I simplified and I'm just CEO and founder of all that stuff.
Right.
Now, so
One hat.
There's a group of 5 companies, but yeah, I'm CEO and founder of all 5 companies. So just to simplify it.
Oh, I only counted 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I must have missed a company there. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So JL Smith Group is my own financial planning practice. We got a team of like 13 there. We work directly with retail clients. 10 years ago, I franchised that. And when that company basically got franchised, it's morphed into, you know, what it is today, which is 4 companies. So one is a management company that provides shared services. Then the second company is an insurance marketing organization. And so these companies work with financial advisors. And then the third is a RIA, and the fourth is an RIA. The difference in the two is one RIA is a platform that for investment management that's offered to other RIAs. And then the other RIA has a bunch of investment advisor representatives around the country that it basically serves under. And that does all the compliance and supervision and trading, billing, reporting, all that good stuff.
What's bananas to me, I think that you and I are approximately the same age. We're both in our mid 40s. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm 45. Yeah.
Yeah, so am I. It's insane to me that you've manifested your vision in this way, and you have so much going on. And I want to I want to talk about that. Start from the beginning, though, right? So, 25 years ago, you're a scrappy young coming out of college dude, thinking, all right, finances and financial advice is probably where I want to go. What are the hops that you make from college to this wildly successful financial enterprise founder and CEO that we see before us today?
So yeah, no, and I would listen. It sounds a bigger deal than it is. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a financial planner, and it was able to get some speaking engagements that turned a bunch of other financial advisors to want to learn how we were doing it, and I had to figure out a way to make money off of helping those other advisors. So that's how it morphed into what it is today. But when you go back to the beginning, so I'm the youngest of 10 kids, and my dad was an insurance agent. So was my uncle and brothers and sisters, right? Just purely insurance. And I actually promised myself I will never be an insurance agent, right? Like, because a lot of them were the typical, short sleeve shirt with the tie that's not long enough and the coffee stain. And I'm like, literally, it was like that, right? And but my dad had a huge agency, and where every Monday they turned in all their business, and I'd offer to wash their cars in summer, all that good stuff. But when I graduated high school, I thought for sure I was going to be in the NBA, and I was not that good, right? I mean, I was like a D2 kind of guy, right? Nowhere near NBA kind of guy. I'm like 6'4", right? And not a point guard. So anyways, though, I ended up blew out my ankle, had pins in it. Long story short, lost any opportunity for basketball scholarship. And I was so mad that it's like I only lasted 2 days in college, and then I dropped out. So I only went to 2 days of college, literally 2 days of college, because I was so mad about them taking away my basketball, scholarship and all that stuff. So I sure enough, started selling insurance door to door, just literally knocking door to door, no leads, no nothing. Hey, I'm here to see on your insurance. What insurance? Oh, your medical insurance. You got a minute? And like 1 out of 10 people would let me in. And then I would just call I'd ask for their insurance card, call their benefits. I'm sure this is actually illegal as I'm saying it out loud. And then I would call their benefits, and I'd tell them what insurance they don't have, and I'd sell them insurance, usually like a home health care policy. It's incredible.
The statute of limitations is long expired at this point, Jason. You're safe.
But I tell you what, Alex actually was pretty decent at it, and it just kind of went from there. I am a lifetime learner. I love to read. I love to learn. It's still like that today. And so I just went on reading books and attending conferences and blah, blah, blah. And it just kind of went its way. And it started in the insurance route, like life insurance, annuities, long-term care, stuff like that. Then I got my investment license. And then I started a tax business. I didn't know anything about taxes, but I hired tax people because I knew if I did tax preparation out of my firm, I'd get a chance to sit down, and when they came in to pick up their tax return, talk about financial services. So I did it for that reason. And when it all kind of started coming together, I tell you, I'll stop there. That's kind of how it started from 19 to, I was a little bit of a journeyman of just learning tax, financial, insurance, as I went along the way, working for other people, but with my own independent little shingle.
When did you go from being Jason Smith working for himself, selling insurance for himself, or maybe even for somebody else too. Jason Smith, the entrepreneur, the employer, the business owner, the founder, the thinker.
Well, I will say, like, I think I kind of had entrepreneurism in my blood from the beginning, because I worked for my dad for less than a year before he fired me. Because he was like, my uncle had taken over the firm. Remember, I'm the youngest of 10 kids. He had already tried to give it to a few of my brothers and they screwed it up. So finally he's like, all right, gave it to my uncle who was with him from the beginning. Then I come in and I'm full of piss and vinegar, right? And trying to take over the world and whatever. Who knows what I did wrong, but he fired me. And so I started my own little agency at 19 years old.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, working out of my mom's, guest room, and then I bought a little house and working out of the basement. And, but where it really got, a big turning point for me was when I was 29 years old. And at 29 years old, I was doing pretty good financially. I was making like $600,000 a year. And I had a little storefront out of Amherst, Ohio, right? It was like $500 a month, part-time assistant, just doing some paperwork, cash cow of a business, right? Mainly insurance, but I was bringing in, I was taking this approach where I was working closely with an attorney, referring him a bunch of trust work. He was referring me insurance work, working closely with a CPA, getting him a bunch of clients. He was getting, him and his wife, actually, she was doing most of the work. So they were getting me a bunch of clients. I was getting them a bunch of clients. And then I had an investment guy before I had my investment license at 29 that I was referring all the best investment business to, and he was giving me all the insurance. So I was doing, and this is, I'm 45 now, 16 years ago, it wasn't common for somebody to be bringing together all the professionals, the insurance professional, the attorney, the CPA, the investment guy, all collaborating to create one comprehensive plan in the best interest of the client. And so I was doing that. And that's why at 29, I was killing it, having a lot of success. I mean, at 600 grand a year was a lot of money for me at 29. Now, I thought I was invincible, right? I had a beautiful wife and a young daughter, and I came home. I'll never forget, I come home from a basketball game. I'm playing in a league. And all of a sudden I lay down my lazy boy and I look, my heart's going crazy. And it's like skipping beats and it's going real fast and going real slow. And I'm like just chilling out in the chair. So I'm like, something's wrong. Long story short, I get diagnosed with a complex heart condition that's going to require life-threatening open heart surgery.
Wow.
And all of a sudden it hits me like a ton of bricks that I'm the shoemaker's kid. I have no life insurance. I have no reoccurring revenue to speak of. I really don't have a business. I just am a great salesperson bringing together this holistic approach. But if I die on an operating table, my income dies with me, and my wife and daughter are screwed. So you ask yourself, whoever, those of you listening, what would you do? How would you have felt in that situation? And no doubt, I was almost like devastated and scared at the same time. But then all of a sudden, I went into, I'm going to build a business that's going to run successfully with or without me, to take care of my wife and daughter, right? You go into that survival instinct mode, to protect your family. And that's what I did. So I went on super drive I joined Strategic Coach, right? We're both in that, Alex, and multiple other coaching organizations to try to do that.
Yeah. Wait, so you went from, at that point, being just a revenue generator to being the owner of a what we call in Strategic Coach, a self-managing company.
Right.
That was the goal. I had to figure out how to get there. Yeah.
So how do you get there?
So, and because people always, I know they think about this, like, what happened? What's up with your heart, right? And so I will real quickly fast forward to April of 2017. And literally I can close my eyes and I feel like I'm there right now. It's 4:37 a.m. And I look over at the alarm clock and I see 4:37. And I know I have to get up at 5 a.m., right? It's like pretty much I'm up all night because that's the morning. April 18th, 2017, I had to have that open heart surgery. After all those years of Cleveland Clinic monitoring it, I didn't have to have it done right away. And, you know, it was a long process, like of monitoring and everything else. And I won't bore you with all the intricacies. So I had that open heart surgery.
So hold on. I want to make sure I've built the timeline correctly. How much time between when you first knew that there was a problem? I think I heard you say you were 29 years old.
I was.
Until
So
2017.
was 4 years ago. So I was 41. So I guess that's 12 years. Yeah.
Wow. So did you have the option of doing the surgery sooner?
I did, but it was kind of like I waited till the point where I was driving my car and I completely blacked out and couldn't see. And it was like to the point where I can't drive anymore. So I got surgery because I wasn't getting blood pumped. Yeah.
So I presume that by 2017, in that 12-year period, you had accomplished what you had set out to accomplish when you were 29. You'd built that self-managing company, yeah?
Well, that's the interesting part of it, right? Wake up, I look over, didn't wake up, I couldn't sleep all night, right? I look over, it's 4:37 a.m. It is the morning that I have to have the open heart surgery. I look over the alarm clock, look over at my beautiful wife sitting next to me, and it's like, and they told me there's a risk that I am not going to make it. And I did. I died on the operating table. And I lit a flatline. And the surgery was supposed to be like 5 hours. I was under for 47 hours.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It was totally insane. And then when I got home, I was on a heart monitor after I was in the hospital for like 10 days. I went back home, or I don't even remember how long I was in, maybe a little longer than that. I went back home and it happened again. I flatlined again at home. It was crazy. So anyways, I was off for 5 months, Alex, literally 5 months. And when I say off, I literally handed over my cell phone, my email, my everything, text messages, cell phone, email. I did not have any business communication with any of my businesses or any of my clients for 5 months. So think of any of you who are entrepreneurs out there. What would your business look like if you took 5 months off, right? And you come back, right? After 5 months. So
that's amazing. I mean, well, the answer is, you're going to get two answers. You either have a self-managing company or you don't, right? And I would venture to say that most entrepreneurs that I know anyway don't, right? They just you haven't worked yourself out of a job yet. You're still the key guy or gal there. Okay, so where were you in 2017? I presume.
So I come back after this. So now remember, at 29, it was just me and my little business. Not really a business, it's just a little bit of help in a storefront. I had built the company into a team of 10. My JL Smith group, I'm talking about my financial planning practice that works with retail clients. I built it into a team of 10. And when I came back, and then C2P is that other group of companies that works with advisors. Mm-hmm. But I had come back after 5 months in September 2017, and we posted the second most profitable quarter the company ever had without me.
Wow.
I know. And they paid my wife and family the whole 5 months I was out. The same, and the same I was getting paid before. And so I had mixed feelings about that. It's like, you don't need me anymore. But then on the other hand, it's like proof of concept. It actually is a self-managing company. And long story short, I'm in great shape now. I mean,
Good.
Well, and I would be remiss if I didn't pry just a little bit. Was this like a genetic heart condition?
Yeah.
Like so, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um.
And then, in the Cleveland Clinic, they call it like, it started with a genetic plumbing issue, and then it turned into an electrical issue that they didn't anticipate. And then it just was a hot mess. And so anyway.
Well, and let me go down, take a little detour here, and then I want to come back to how you created your self-managing company, what worked, what didn't work. But you don't often get to talk to a guy that died twice, right? So what are you a pretty religious dude? Are you pretty spiritual?
No, I would say that, it was, I believe in God. I'm spiritual, but I'm not tied to any one religion.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, what does dying twice on the operating table look like, feel like before, after? You got to describe that experience for us.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's probably not something anybody wants to hear, because I didn't have any saw the light type of thing. I had a very dark experience, and it was like, I found out afterward it was the drugs they had me on, and they really didn't give me enough of the anesthesia, and I was quasi awake for that whole 47 hours. And so it was like I was paralyzed in a nightmare. And
that is my nightmare right there.
And I was in ICU for I don't even talk about it, because I can't remember now. It was way too long. They wheeled me into a special room in the ICU unit. I heard several people die while I was under, and they didn't realize I was hearing everything, hearing people literally die and try to be resuscitated around me. And then I went into, it's called ventricular tachycardia, where your heart beats as fast as it can, and then it just goes to failure. And I went to VTAC, and literally the doctor, my sister was sitting with me, because I didn't want my wife to experience all this. And I wasn't of the right mind, so I didn't want her coming in. And literally the doctor said to my sister, didn't realize, and I was awake at this point, that, your brother needs to say his goodbyes to whoever he wants to say goodbye to. So I call my wife in, say my goodbyes to her, call my daughter at college, say my goodbyes to her, call my mom. They wheel me into a separate room, and I wouldn't sleep. And so this is after I was already up for a little bit. So I, skipped that part of waking up. But after I was up for a couple of days, I wouldn't sleep because I was scared to fall asleep and die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I wouldn't go to sleep. And they're pumping me full of everything they could to try to get me to sleep. And they're like, listen, your body's not going to heal if you don't go to sleep. But on the other hand, they said, you need to prepare and say your goodbyes. They wheel me into this private room in the ICU unit. I say, literally say the last goodbye to my wife, and I go to sleep. And I ended up waking up. But it was I thought it was it. I mean, it was it.
So
not that everybody wanted to hear about all that crazy.
No. I did. And I think they do too. And it's interesting, because I read a lot about stoicism, and about, just being intentionally grateful, and having the perspective that everything can be taken from you at any moment, totally randomly. And so as I'm listening to your story, what's going through my mind is that I'm guessing that you would have what I would imagine to be the predictable emotions coming out of that. Like, every day is a gift, right? Every moment is this blessing now, right? Is that the gist of it, or is there a different perspective that you have on life after something like that, or?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, it just takes you to a different level of appreciation. I mean, check this out, Alex. My second set of twins, right? I have twin 5-year-olds and I have twin 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
My twin 3-year-olds, they're 3.5, they'll be 4 in a few months. They were born while I was literally in the hospital recovering from this surgery. Like while all this is happening, my wife is a superhero,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
imagine that. She pumps out her second set of twins and she's dealing with me going through all this.
It's bananas, man.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And that's a huge reason I did this farm thing, is because I just realized, like, man, you know, just the responsibility of making a bigger, you know, as much of a footprint you can on the world, making it a better place. And it's like, I want my kids to be the best they can be. And I've said this to my wife since they were born, is like, I grew up in a blue collar kind of environment, very hardworking blue collar environment. The reality of it is I'm living now in a white collar world and I'm raising my kids in that world. And I've been saying to my wife, like, how do we raise, you know, kids with blue collar values in a white collar world?
Right.
And what we came to the conclusion of is why we bought the 67 acres. We're going to, you know, build a farm to raise our kids on, teach them the value of hard work and, you know, taking care of the land and let the land take care of them.
Are you going to have livestock on the farm or just vegetables?
We're going to have chickens and goats. I've not made the commitment of pigs and cows,
Yeah.
but we'll have beehives and tons of, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of vegetables and fruits.
And are you working the farm entirely on your own, or are you going to bring in some folks to help you?
No. Yeah. No.
Yeah, that's a lot. I was going to say that's a lot of.
My
acreage.
brother-in-law is retiring and lives 10 minutes down the road, and we're very close. So it's perfect. And this is going to be he's only 60, and this is going to be like his second, you know, career or whatever, and be
Wow.
the farmhand. So we're going to build a farm stand out front, and the kids will work the farm stand, and, you know,
That's awesome.
they'll learn entrepreneurism. That's one of the other reasons for doing.
Well, and it'll be interesting too, right? In some ways, you're totally starting over. It's a brand new business, you know, and there's so many interesting narratives about that, partly from what I know about you and how successful you've been, but it's insurance, financial instruments, software, the platforms that you've got are so advanced and new and modern, and yet you're going back into this anachronistic, you know, 20,000-year-old industry, right? That doesn't lend itself to technology and software. A little bit of modern technology, but not much. I mean, you're going way back in the other direction, which is fascinating. But at the same time, it would also be interesting to observe how the skills that you've acquired and employed in building businesses, you're also going to apply to farming, right? Because, so for example, right, and to bring it back to your business, you have to, I believe, in order to grow a successful business, be able to create order out of chaos, to take the complex and simplify it, right? And I imagine that you're going to be able to do the same thing with farming, right? So it'll be interesting to observe how you use the talents and the skills that you've, you know, evolved as a business person into this ancient, you know, labor intensive industry. Have you thought about it?
To be honest with you, I mean, hopefully my competitiveness doesn't kick in and make me have to become obsessed of turning this into a real profitable company, for lack of better words. I mean, you know, the intention is more of, this is a hobby that hope maybe can break even, that can teach the kids a ton of great lessons, you know, to learn, and maybe help my brother-in-law out with, you know, some work in post-retirement.
getting back to your business, in that, what, 20 years or so of turning it from just a pure revenue generation to a self-sustaining, self-managing company. You and I know a lot of the same concepts in Strategic Coach. We both love Strategic Coach. We both run our businesses on EOS. You've used, I think you told me you used Michael Gerber's system at one point. We're both lifelong learners. I love that you recognize that about yourself. Talk about, if you probably use the 80-20 analysis every day, right? Give me the 80-20 of the last 20 years, right? What were the few sort of tweaks or tools or lessons or whatever that you think are responsible for most of your evolution as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, when I look at the core of what it all comes down to is not, when I made the shift about looking at people as an investment and not an expense, when that kind of paradigm shift, right? And that pendulum swung, and I just became laser focused on developing people. It naturally led to developing processes, because the people need the processes, because otherwise you point fingers at people of not doing a good job, when in reality it's because the process is broken and the people, so therefore, the people just weren't running the process, or the process didn't exist. And a lot of times you set unfair expectations, and then that ties into a poor culture. And so, I mean, when it all goes down to the bare basics, going back to like a mentality of Strategic Coach, I identified my unique ability there. And then at that point, I was able to build people around me that and identify who I needed around me to do the things that I wasn't good at or that I didn't like doing, right? Unique ability, Strategic Coach is like, 4 different categories. There's your unique ability, which is what you're absolutely better than pretty much everybody at. And you could do it all day long and you're on fire at the end of the day. You're not wiped out. The second of the 4th categories is you're better than everybody at it, but at the end of the day, you are wiped out, right? I mean, there's other people could do it as good as you, but you're right, you're at the top of the game, but it drains your energy versus gives you energy at unique ability level. And that's the big refinement, is really making the step between those two. But what you have to start at is getting rid of the other 2 categories. The things that you can get done, but other people absolutely could do it a lot better. And then the last 4th category, things you suck at. And it was like, when I started identifying, following that unique ability and identifying, get rid of the things I suck at, and then the things that, other people could do better. And then the big evolution was when I started getting rid of things that I was actually hard to find other people as good as me, but it drained my energy.
Yeah.
Boom. And then just building the people around you and developing those people, having the time and the patience and almost that servant attitude or mentality that I think a lot of religions teach, and is like, be a servant, like, serve other people, and then you'll be served yourself.
Jason, what did you discover to be your unique ability?
So my unique ability, I knew you were going to ask me that. And in my head, I'm like, geez, man, I haven't asked myself what my own unique ability is. But
recently, anyway.
Yeah. And the thing that I think even Strategic Coach identified is that, recently, it's been a long time.
Right.
Yeah, is what I meant to say. Because at first, when you join Coach, it's like all about that. And you spend so much time figuring that out. But I do think it evolves over time. I mean, I know when I first developed it, it was connecting with people. It was strategic thinking and planning. It was simplifying complexity, and it was three. I could never really boil it down more than those three because I was kind of equally as good at all three. I felt like I'm just as good with connecting with new people, just as good at simplifying complexity and strategic thinking and planning. But now that you ask me about it, which so great you did, because nobody has in probably 10 years, I feel like, two of those were really excellent activities that probably at the end of the day drain me. Strategic thinking and planning, the end of the day, it drains me. Simplifying complexity at the end does. It really is connecting with people. I mean, that's because I'm really, really good at it, but I also love it. Like, it's fun. Like, I love meeting new people and making those connections, and who knows where it could go.
Yeah. So let me ask you this too. And I think you may have just answered it because I struggle with this myself. The constant slicing off of the things that drain you, that you don't enjoy, that other people can do better than you, et cetera. It's interesting. So I'm in my 5th year of coach, and in the first year or two, I was really diligent about doing that, going through that exercise every quarter, right? Just like really scrutinizing your day and your activities in it. And then if there is stuff in there that falls into any of those 2nd, 3rd, and 4th categories, find somebody else to do it, or cross it off or automate it. Right. And I too, have gotten, I haven't been as deliberate with that exercise. Right. I think I've been trying to just do it as I go along. Right. Just intuitively, am I enjoying this? No. All right. Well, somebody else is going to do it then, so I guess the question I have for you is, how these days, how deliberate are you about managing how you spend your time and delegations and unique ability work, things like that?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm very deliberate in that when I really think about where I need to be spending my time and energy these days is really, leading and developing people. And
we got a visitor.
I just got broken in on. Sorry, she's a cuddler. So
excellent cameo.
It's really leading and developing people, right? Is where I have to spend my time, and I do enjoy it. I absolutely do. And then it's and when I say leading, I don't manage anybody. Nobody reports to me. So I'm the EOS, I'm the visionary, right?
Yeah.
But you still have to provide thought leadership, right?
Yeah.
And then from a developing people, a lot of times it's leading by example. And in other times it's training and coaching and mentoring, people.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge part of where I spend my time these days. And then it is connecting with people. So it's it's new potential, relationships that, whether it be with financial institutions or financial advisors or whatever that might be, that's and from an intentionality though, I have to lead and develop people in my home too, right?
Yeah.
Like this 3-year-old girl that just climbed into my arms who got up from her nap, right?
Yeah. So here, do you ever structure your day or your week? I mean, obviously you've got quarterly coach sessions, right? You still do that. Do you set time aside deliberately to just, as Dan Sullivan would say, just thinking about your thinking, right? Just personal development, just, application of principles, reading, learning. Do you do that in a structured way or no?
Yep. So I'm always working on my schedule, right? I'm always analyzing my schedule, working on it, like trying to maximize, trying to balance, things of that nature. So what my day looks like is Mondays is my buffer day.
Yeah.
And so blocked for strategic thinking and planning, including reading and podcasts and journaling and, that kind of stuff. And I'm writing another book right now. So I try to block Mondays for that. Fridays is off from Memorial Day to Labor Day. So it's 4-day work week during that time. Pretty much the Tuesday through Friday or Tuesday through Thursday is the focus days.
Yeah.
And then what I do is on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I get up really early. In as soon as the coffee shop opens, I'm there and doing about an hour or to an hour and a half of journaling and thinking and planning and that kind of thing. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I take the kids to the coffee shop and I rotate to spend one-on-one time, little daddy dates with the kids.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. But I start like officially my work day at 10 a.m. But that's after I do that routine and do the coffee shop and then 10 a.m. And I pretty religiously end it at 5 p.m. Once in a while, I'll allow a 5 to 6 p.m. engagement.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit of an EOS geek, and you were very kind a few weeks ago to help tweak us in our EOS game. But I want to follow up on something I heard you say a second ago. You said I'm the visionary, but I don't have anyone report to me, which is the structure. You got the visionary, the integrator, right? But remind me? You do have a level 10 meeting, right? So you basically have a seat at that table and you listen and you have a vision that you pass down and basically, is it that you're expecting your integrator to execute and have everyone report to the integrator? Is that how that? Okay.
You got it. And so I do an L10 meeting with the management company. It's also a holding company of all those other companies for the ones that work with financial advisors.
Yeah.
And so I do an L10 meeting there. And then I do an L10 meeting with my individual financial planning practice, which that's what it all started with. That's like the model that the whole other thing was built off of to teach other advisors. So I do those 2 L10 meetings each week.
Got it. All right. Listen, I want to be very respectful of your time. I'm going to bust out some lightning round questions. Okay. Okay. You can totally bring her back if you want. When the pandemic started, I could not I did nothing but webinars at the time, and I couldn't get through a single one without my 7-year-old, then 6-year-old, appearing in it, and everybody stopped listening to me and just wanted to talk to her.
Right.
Yeah.
So I apologize. It's a little bit.
No, not at all. It's all good, man. All right, here, lightning round. Ready? Jason Smith. What is the non-religious book or author whose words you apply the most in your life on a day-to-day basis?
Patrick Lencioni in his series of books on organizational health.
Excellent. Love it. Hey, did you ever read Ray Dalio's book, Principles?
No.
Man, I'm reading it right now. I'm reading it one principle a day every morning, right upon waking up.
Really?
It's just fantastic. You know Ray Dalio, right? You know that dude.
No,
right?
I'm writing it down.
He's like the.
I've heard the name. Yeah,
actually, he's a hedge.
Now that I wrote it down,
he's a hedge fund. He's like one of the biggest hedge fund man. It's fascinating. I'm gonna get Lencioni's been on my list forever. I got it.
Favorite all time for me. Yeah. My whole unique process was getting naked, which is the consultative sales approach. How to take it was how a huge part of how I built my unique process. And then from there, his other series of books on organizational health were just instrumental.
Yeah. If you were, so funny. It's all good, Jason. Honestly, don't worry about it. Bring him in. He might be able to help with this next question.
If you
Not
were a
only
prof-
did the 3-year-old girl, but now I got bum rushed by the 3-year-old boy.
It's all good. It's all good, man. Jason, you're a professional boxer. What is the song that's playing as you enter the ring?
Probably a DMX song. At first, I was thinking the Rocky Balboa song, and I'm like, nah, come on. I mean, that was my first instinct, but I'd say a DMX song.
That is that's aggressive, man. That's good stuff. You really learn a lot about somebody by asking that question.
Oh, I grew up on gangster rap, man.
Yeah, I did too.
I still love it.
Well, I feel like so I asked my chief marketing officer that question, and she just is the most just sort of like mild mannered, soft spoken woman I think I've ever met. And I asked her that question, and she goes, probably something by Missy Elliott. And I was like, what? Who are you? And her stock like skyrockets with me instantly. All right. A habit or routine that you that has given you the most mileage.
Definitely my simplified bullet journal method. So I'll tell you real quick, rapid fire, if you'd like to hear it, because it's changed my life.
Yeah.
Every morning, no matter what, because you can get it done in a couple minutes or you can spend a lot of time with it, is what I do is, just put the date, time and date or on the top of it, but then wins. And I do 3 wins. And I picked this up from a group. You'll know some places I pick up. So first I do is write down the 3 wins from the previous day. Then I write down the 3 things I'm most grateful for right now in that moment. Then I write the intention of the day, and it's a word, and sometimes I put a sentence around that word. What do I want to do that day, or how do I want to be that day? And I look at my calendar before I set my intention, because I've what mindset and who do I want to be? What do I want to be that day? And depending on what's going on. And then I send a gratitude message. And so I text or do a selfie video or an email or sometimes a phone call and give a gratitude message. And that's my routine every morning. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad I heard you say that last piece, because I have something very similar, but I've struggled with that last piece. I know that manifesting your gratitude more than just thinking about it or writing about it is important it's got a ripple effect. It's important for your for everything. But I have I found myself just repeating the same thing over and over again and sending it to the same people. And I think that's just a failure of imagination.
You know what? You're right, Alex. I found myself in that same rut. And you know what I did one day when I had more time to journal on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, is I made a list, and it blew my mind how many people on the list.
Yeah.
And created that list. And then I started going through the list and hitting people up. Some people I hadn't talked to in a while, employees, clients of the company, all kinds of stuff that I'm like, I never send these guys gratitude messages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Talk about a time that you had a massive personal or business failure and how you bounced back from it.
Oh, you know what? I went into a big partnership where I gifted a chunk of equity as like a signing bonus. Thank God it was on a vesting schedule, but even still, I allowed 2 years to go vested, and it was a big financial, mistake. And eventually, like this thing that somebody said, and I don't remember who it was, is like, and maybe it's been said forever, is like, life's too short to not work with people that you really enjoy, and like they enjoy you. Like you have to enjoy them and they have to enjoy you. Life's too short. If
Right.
that's not the case, you got to move on. And that's the blessing of being an entrepreneur, is you have that opportunity. And I hung on too long to this, trying to make this relationship work. It was making me miserable. And finally, I pulled the trigger, but it was too long.
You pulled the trigger in the sense that you ended up writing this guy a check that you wish you hadn't had to write, but you didn't have to work with him, and you could move on.
Well, luckily, I changed the operating agreement to where no checks ever have to be written. He's just now a silent partner and basically has, illiquid equity.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
but at the end of the day, the guy's wicked smart. And the ironic thing about it is he now actually serves on our board. We just had a board meeting all day yesterday, and he was awesome. He was very valuable. We were just butting heads and we just didn't click. But now, him being on the board, he's actually asking great questions and providing valuable insight. So
I'm fascinated by that. A, because you consider that to be a personal failure, and B, because you don't often hear about those situations working out. Usually people go their separate ways, and somehow you manage to find the right seats for each other, right?
any entrepreneur, if you ever bring on a partner or do have partners, I would highly encourage you to revisit your corporate governance or your operating agreement and make sure that nobody has the ability to trigger a buyout, because it's a huge liability. If you ever want outside investors or people buying, it's a no. You probably knows this stuff, Alex.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like ours, thank God we changed it, because I was
Yeah.
able to end it and terminate his employment agreement, and his equity, even though it was 50% vested, he just owns it. You know what I mean?
And yeah, well, and now, I mean, you were able to convert him from someone causing stress to an ally, and that is that's unusual. Yeah. All right, last one, Jason. You ready?
Yeah.
An embarrassing thing about yourself that only a few people know, and for extra credit, for bonus points, that no one knows.
No one knows, and few people know. I am such an open book. It embarrasses the hell out of my wife that there's not that many things that few people know, or especially that no one knows. This isn't no one, but few people know might be that I have no sense of smell. So like
right?
literally, I mean, I can't smell, and once in a blue moon, I can smell a skunk, but even like cognac, I can't even really get.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been that way since I was a kid. So that could be embarrassing, because like if I stink, I'm not gonna realize it. I'm just gonna
or like, I mean, the other thing is I'm the opposite. I've got an extremely sensitive gag reflex. And so like I got a 7-month-old now, and man, when that kid's got a loaded diaper, man, I got to run in, I got to leave the house, whereas your wife had to be your barometer on that, right? Your early warning system, because you would never know.
Right.
You
wouldn't be a good adult film star then, Alex?
I sure wouldn't, for lots of reasons, Jason. Do you have a sense of taste? Because your smell and taste usually go together, don't they?
Yeah, it's not as good, I know, as others, because there's things I can't pick up on as close, like when I hear people tasting wine and stuff. So yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. You didn't get COVID, did you?
I have no clue, because I wouldn't know if I lost my sense of smell.
I'm saying, yeah.
No, I haven't, as far as I know. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's it's not a debilitating thing, right? Obviously. And it's probably been more helpful than not. So, but that's all right. Well, thank you for sharing that, Jason, and thanks for giving us your time. This was awesome. I'm shameless about the real intent of this podcast, which is to steal and extract from people that I admire as many things that I can use in my own life as possible. And if our listeners get the same value, great, bonus, gravy, right? But this, you are the textbook guest here, because I've been taking copious notes, and you've got some really good nuggets here, man. So thank you
so much for that. I've enjoyed it, Alex. Every time we get together, it's fun. So let's do it again soon.
Let's do it, folks. Listen, thanks for tuning in. You know where to find us. If you're listening, then you just keep listening to where you're listening. If you haven't listened before, subscribe, hit like. There's multiple ways to be reminded of when the episodes come out. So do that thing, and we will see you next time. Thanks, folks.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we thank you for listening. And remember to check out the Gertzberg Law Firm. Whether you are starting, running, growing, or transitioning a business, or if you need to create or update your wills, trust, or estate plan, our team will give you an incredible level of personalized attention and a passionate commitment to meet your objectives. We are veteran-owned, and our award-winning lawyers have the highest ranking from Super Lawyers and Avo. We have also recently received the coveted Weatherhead 100 Upstarts Award for a second year in a row, and we are among the first Ohio business law firms to offer our clients a non-billable alternative on every single matter we handle for them, and opt out of the billable hour. What we are most proud of, though, are the many things our clients rely on us for. We successfully defend them in court, but we also help them avoid the courtroom with our Cover My Six service. We protect their assets through good estate and succession planning, and we assist our clients in many non-legal business services like recruiting and business development. We want our clients to feel confident in their choices and to help them resolve any issues or potential problems quickly and efficiently so they can get back to what they love, running their businesses. More than just litigators, we are trusted advisors, problem solvers, and growers of businesses. Let us help you and your company. Call us or find us online to learn more. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time.